Hey everybody, it's Natasha of natashaskitchen.com and we're in Natasha's kitchen. If you're a subscriber to our channel, you've probably already seen our dream kitchen tour where we let you guys look at what we keep in our drawers and cabinets, and our organized pantry tour. So many of you have asked for a fridge tour. We're gonna do that today. First, we're gonna start with the fridge and then go on to the freezer. So without further ado, let's get started. Ta-da! Up here, we keep our condiments. So we've got all the basic things that you need for a great homemade burger. Regular mustard, ketchup. I try to find one that doesn't have high fructose corn syrup. We try to buy organic most of the time. And then a real mayo and sour cream and salad dressing. We have some up here. This is our favorite store-bought Caesar dressing, the Marzetti brand. They also make a really good ranch that my kids love. And then of course, Dijon mustard, little Grey Poupon for a lot of our recipes. We love this. All right, and next row we have some hummus, and this is great for snacking. It's also great for kids' lunches. We love dipping it with chips or with celery and carrot sticks. Also, this next section, I see you judging my life. We don't have to talk about that. Chick-fil-A sauces, I don't know. I'm pretty sure every person in America has this section. Maybe they hide it, I don't know. And then butter, we like to use unsalted butter because we bake a lot. We like to control the amount of salt in our recipes, so we always have a ton of unsalted butter and tons more in the freezer. All right, then we have fresh citrus for all of the guacamoles and ceviches and salsas that we're crazy about. And then we have our nuts and seeds. We like to keep a variety for snacking and to add to recipes. And also I keep my probiotic stash here in the refrigerator. Very important tip, do not store your milk or dairy on the door, with the exception of sour cream, because that's our own exception. That's not science. We don't always follow the rules. Okay, and now we're gonna take a look at the main part of our refrigerator where we have the bulk of everything. We'll start at the top with our drinks. We have our favorite drinks right now, which are bubblies. My kids love them and they don't like sweet sodas, so my husband loves his coconut water, so we like to keep that on hand. Also, we love nut milk. So this is a new one that we're trying, the macadamia milk. It's great. And then we always keep almond milk on hand, and we use these for protein shakes, smoothies, chia seed pudding, and we always stock whole milk. We use that for our lattes in the morning. Remember, I shared with you our favorite Jura espresso machine. We're completely obsessed with it, and I will leave a link to that in the notes. And then we have heavy cream and half for baking, for coffees. One of my recent favorites is low-fat kefir. I love this for pancakes in the morning and just to drink it with a cookie. It is so satisfying to me. We have our Greek yogurt, and we use this to make fruit and yogurt parfaits almost every other morning. It's so much protein, it's low in fat, and we use our homemade granola, which I'll leave a link to that in the notes, and also use frozen berries that we keep from our garden. It is so good, so satisfying. Okay, and then we also love to keep fruit in the fridge. We prep things where we can, like pineapple, just so it's a quick snack on the go. I don't like to rinse other berries because they tend to get mushy faster, so I just like to store them in their original containers, which have the little air vents. I love this little egg holder because I can see my supply at all times. Then we go to the next shelf. We have this really neat little turntable, Lazy Susan. You don't have to dig for stuff, which I love. I have these also in our pantry tour where we keep all of our spare sauces. They're so handy and they keep the fridge neat and tidy. So, I'll share with you some of our favorites. Another favorite salad dressing is Newman's Own brand. We love their Italian dressing, which we use for our cowboy caviar. It's so good. If you haven't tried that, delicious. I will link to it in the notes. And then of course, their sesame ginger, which we mix with a little peanut butter for our lettuce wraps. And then the basics, Worcestershire sauce, and then we like using coconut aminos just to cut down on the soy that we consume. We love A1 for steaks. We always keep jalapeno peppers. We like to chop them up and put them into our spicy guacamole. Then we like to keep a little bit of jam in the refrigerator. And our favorite maple syrup is this way from Gateway Farm. And it comes from Vermont, and it is the best maple syrup I have ever had. Highly recommend. Favorite hot sauce, hands down, it's gotta be the Tabasco. I have always loved it. Organic barbecue sauce by Kinder's. And then we also love to keep leftovers in the refrigerator. Whenever we're cooking rice, I'll double it, so I'll have some leftover for another meal. So we've got some brown rice, some white rice, also really good for stir-fried rice, whether it's chicken fried rice or shrimp fried rice. It makes it so easy to meal prep that way. One of our favorite leftover meals is soup. We always like to make a pot at the start of the week, and it lasts throughout the week. Here we have some leftover borscht. I will leave a link to this tutorial in the notes. We do love to keep a bowl of boiled eggs in the refrigerator because it's a great way to add more protein to your diet, and our kids love them for snacking, so this is something we always keep on hand. And then for storing asparagus, here's a great tip. If you want it to last longer, you can cut off the ends and put it into a container of water, and it'll last for 1 to 2 weeks. You're welcome. Now we're gonna hit the drawers. In the first drawer, we have our little bakery section, so where we keep our breads and some of our miscellaneous things. All right, in here, I do like to keep my yeast because it'll stay fresher way longer, so I just keep that in a little jar. It's ready for me. And then we keep some ground flax seeds, which we love to add to those parfaits in the morning. Of course, we always have corn tortillas. I love white corn tortillas, and these are perfect for our favorite fish tacos or shrimp tacos. And if you haven't tried those, you are missing out on life, especially the sauce. All right, and then this, I have to show you this trick. Okay, so we keep our bread in the fridge because it just lasts way longer. It doesn't get moldy as fast. And to seal it up, okay, so you've taken a few slices out and you don't wanna fumble with that annoying little clip. So all you do is the twirly whirly. That's my own terminology. You don't have to use it. And then you pull it down over the bag and it seals itself. I know you're clapping for me right now. You're welcome. All right. Okay, next we have our veggie drawer. We like to keep all of the veggies in one spot and prep wherever we can, but the most important thing is to keep things fresh. So I'll show you how we stash our veggies. I like to store my celery and carrots in Ziploc bags, and one trick that my husband learned while working at Chili's restaurant is to put some ice on there, and that'll keep it crisper and add some moisture so it'll stay fresh longer. And then once avocados are getting soft and ripe, we do like to refrigerate those so they don't get overly soft. And then we also love to keep Brussels sprouts because we are crazy about Brussels sprouts, and my kids love them, which is always amazing and a plus. Then we have some prepped veggies here, some cauliflower, broccoli, both veggies that my kids love. And then we love these baby Bella mushrooms, which we use in lots of recipes. And then to store herbs, we like to put them into these little stasher bags. They seal, they're reusable. We keep parsley and cilantro in these little bags to keep them fresh longer. Then we also like these little cucumbers from Costco, also keeping them in a little bag. You can keep them in a Ziploc bag. And then we always keep some fresh baby arugula for our arugula berry salad. And I'll leave a link to that in the notes. Again, one of our favorites. Now on to my favorite drawer, which is the meats and cheeses. And our family, we are obsessed with cheeses. We have some meats here, chicken and ground beef that we're defrosting for a meal. This will probably go for making our famous cheeseburgers. And then always we have bacon on hand because we love bacon. I try to look for stuff that's nitrate free or uncured. I have some prosciutto. This is a weakness of mine. I have to be careful with that so I don't eat too much. And then some salami. I like to get the organic one and make sure it's sealed really tightly after you open it. It'll last much longer. This is great for kids' lunches. Mozzarella cheese for making homemade pizzas. This is my favorite for shredding cheese. And then goat cheese, we love making our beet and goat cheese salad. And then also we put this into our arugula salad. So we always stock this one. I love this one from Costco. Some Mexican cheese blend, shredded cheese. We love this for quesadillas and so many things. And then of course we always have our Parmesan cheese in here. I keep this container here in the refrigerator, and I keep a bag that's frozen in the freezer, and I just refill it. And I like to get the bag at Costco. I'll show it to you in a minute. Also cream cheese. For all the baking that we do, we love to have cream cheese on hand, especially for cheesecake. And then ricotta cheese, we put that into our ricotta pancakes, which are so good. They've become totally a family favorite, highly recommend. This is our favorite brand of ricotta. Then these little cheeses are the Snack Attack cheeses, which we put into the kids' lunch boxes. My son loves these, and my daughter loves her little Baby Bells. That's it for the cheese drawer. We have found that keeping your refrigerator nicely organized, and we did hire Anna from Neat Method, and she came here with her team and they cleaned out and organized our entire refrigerator and freezer. When you do that, you're way less likely to have food that spoils or things that you forget about, because you can see it all. And also make sure that you don't crowd your refrigerator. You want to keep the air circulating around your foods, and it's going to stay cold much more efficiently. Okay, onto the freezer. Let's take a peek. Before we get into this, you're probably thinking, dang, that's a small freezer. It is, because because we do so much baking and cooking, we do have a deep freezer in the garage. So these are the things that we use on the regular, okay? That's the stuff we keep inside. So here's our Parmesan that I'm refilling my little container in the fridge from Costco. Super delish, works for everything. Then here we keep our frozen herbs. So we love to grow dill and chives at home, and then you can just chop them up, freeze them, and enjoy them all winter long. And you bet we have bags of these stashed in the freezer, in the deep freezer. So helpful for cooking, and I always have them on hand. Okay, now the freezer's talking to me. We better hurry. Okay, and then we also do the same thing with fresh berries. So we have black currant from our garden and raspberries, which we love putting into that fruit and yogurt parfait. Okay, and then we keep the kids' lunchbox ice packs in here. And then our favorite ice cream, okay, mine and my kids, is Tillamook brand. I love this vanilla bean ice cream. It has the little specks of vanilla in it. It's so good. It's just my favorite vanilla, super creamy. And then the kids love the chocolate chip version. I do too, I mean, if I'm being honest. It's so good. If you haven't tried that brand, this is not sponsored. I just really, really love it. And then we always love to keep some cooked shrimp meat, because we are basically obsessed with ceviche, and you have to try that one too. So always keep cooked shrimp meat. And then we've got some hash browns in there and some frozen uncooked pelmeni, which are basically like little dumplings. I have a recipe for those. I also have a recipe for pierogi, which are filled with potatoes, and those freeze really well. So good for meal prep. Then we have frozen fruits, which we love to put into smoothies. We've got some pineapple and mango, and there's some frozen peas back there too. We do keep some frozen veggies. And then some meats that are quick to grab, and we do store a ton of meat in our deep freezer, but it's basically the same thing you see here: steaks, chicken, ground beef for burgers. We love burgers. And then we have our ice drawer, so nothing to see. Just ice. At the bottom, we keep frozen croissants, and here's a great tip. If you have fresh baked goods like croissants or bread, so if you freeze your fresh stuff right away when you thaw it, it will taste like fresh, okay? Take my word for it and try it. That's why we love to buy the big packs at Costco of croissants, and if you buy 2 loaves of bread, you can freeze one, and seriously, it'll be just like fresh. And then we have focaccia, which I have a really good recipe for this. Also, I like to keep frozen disc of homemade pie crust. I will leave a link to this recipe. Great for pies and everything that calls for pie crust. Of course, some frozen puff pastry for baking projects. Okay, we're done. Okay. My butt is so cold right now. I'll make sure to share links to all of our organizational tools in the description of the video. And I want to hear from you guys. If you have any great tips on keeping your fridge or freezer organized, let me know in the comments and let me know what you want to see on our channel next. We'll see you in our next video.